Before we get into this upsetting episode, I got to give a big shout out to our sponsor, OpenFortune. OpenFortune is forming the humble fortune cookie into a powerful marketing platform with access to 99% of zip codes and over 47,000 restaurants. OpenFortune delivers your brand message directly into the hands of millions of consumers, trusted by leading companies like Goose Island, ZipRecruiter, Duolingo, Chime, and many more. OpenFortune ensures your advertising reaches a wide and engaged audience while being in a memorable way. So if you want to check them out, go to openfortune.com. Super excited for this one. All right, folks, buckle up, because today we've got a powerhouse in the digital marketing world. Joining us is Yvette Davis. Yvette is the driving force behind the seamless digital experience you love at Dave & Buster's. As a leader in consumer-centric marketing, she's all about creating innovative omnichannel journeys that keep customers coming back for more. With more than 15 years in the game, Yvette's career has spanned roles in sales, brand, and multicultural marketing, as well as digital platform CX and media strategy. Before D&B, she owned her craft at heavyweights like Sam's Club, the Home Depot, and global media giants Starcom and OMD. Yvette's creative thinking has led to some serious wins, 35 million in incremental sales to be exact. She's also got the academic chops to back it up with degrees from the University of Texas at Arlington, Loyola in Chicago, and a study stint in Beijing. So let's dive in. Yvette, how'd you get here?
Yo, that's a great question. Normally when people ask me that, I like to go like way back. So
Way back.
so stay with me for a little bit. But really it started in undergrad. So actually even before that, I remember being asked like what I wanted to do after I got through with college. And my response was like I wanted to be a TV talk show host.
Okay.
Back then I was really into like Jenny Jones, Ricky Lake, and then everyone always told me I had this big personality, like gregarious personality, like, just laugh or smile. They like brighten up the room or whatever. So I was like, yeah, I should be a talk show host. Of course, that didn't happen, but I went on to college, got my undergrad in broadcast management. As I was going through that program, I had a mentor who asked me, like, hey, what is it that you want to do next? Where do you feel like the wave of the industry is going? At this time, it was right when Apple started selling like iTunes and like J.C. Penney's and then Starbucks. So I said that I wanted to get into kind of like more like music management. And so I'm at the end of my undergraduate degree. I do like a Google search and I'm like, broadcast management plus marketing. What can I do in this degree? Integrated marketing communications comes up. And so for a master's program at that time, it was only like in 8 universities. 4 of them were in Chicago. And so I went and got my MBA in international marketing and a Master of Science in integrated marketing communications, and said that like I just really want to be in this marketing game. For me, I didn't see a ton of diversity in the advertising space. And so I wanted to be, a diverse person that could give aspiration to other girls and young men, young women who look like me and say, hey, we don't have to just be, TV stars or, professional athletes, but there's other careers out there. And so that's why I just stayed on this journey.
And I think that's so key, right? Like, and you need diverse perspective, especially in creative. How'd you go about getting your first break?
Honestly, a friend of a friend. So I was in Chicago right after grad school. I was working for a online university, and I was like, this isn't what I went to school for. Was struggling a little bit to get a break because I went straight from undergrad into grad school. I really didn't have a lot of work experience. And so a friend of a friend was like, hey, I work at this media agency. It's like one of the top global media agencies. I can get you in. And she got me in. My first account was an Intel account.
Okay.
I quickly, got promoted on that account. Then I saw another opportunity, and so I hopped on that and I switched over to Starcom, working on Kellogg's. And really, my time at Starcom working on that account is really what I feel like really helped, like, just propel my career. And so at Starcom, I sat in a strategy role, but I was very close to my colleagues who did execution, and I found it was important for me not to only know strategy, but keep up with what was going on from a digital execution standpoint. And at that time, it was like programmatic was the big buzzword, and DSPs and PMPs, and like that was just really coming into play. And so, even though that wasn't my responsibility, like Starcom offered a training where they really taught us, how to be a programmatic digital marketer And I went through that training, even though it was only offered to like your execution desk people. Well, it was offered to everyone, but specifically the people who sat in like the execution seats. And then next thing you know, I got recruited by Home Depot and was able to like really lead there.
You ended up going brand side, right, to Home Depot and eventually D&B, which we'll get into. But what were the main differences for you on being agency side compared to being brand direct? And what are the pluses and minuses about?
I would say the biggest thing that I kind of had to struggle with a little bit when I went to the client side was remembering that I wasn't on the agency anymore. And so, like, now the people, like, I was now kind of the boss. I needed to make sure that I was giving, very clear direction and that I was more so guiding and shaping, what we needed to do because I should be closer to the business. And so, I feel like that was kind of the biggest, like, hurdle that I had to overcome because I knew the job. It was just like having that balance between like you don't sit on the agency side anymore. So even though you're used to like feeding the client recommendations, you need to like approve these recommendations now. You need to make sure that they're what's right for the business and that they truly accomplish, what you're looking to accomplish. And so I would say that was the biggest difference. I feel like I really like the agency side for being fully transparent. I feel like on the agency side, it was nice. I didn't experiment. Let me tell you this way. I did experiment one week when I worked in the agency and I was like, I'm gonna see if I can go without buying breakfast and lunch and see if I can go a whole week without doing it. And I did because you have so many of the vendor dinners and everything. And then yeah, when you go from that environment to more client, is you don't have that as much. And so I feel like that's one of the biggest things. But then also, there's just something about being the decision maker when you're on the client side that you don't have that type of authority when you're a media agency. And I really like the business aspects of it. Like, I'm not just thinking as a marketer when I'm on the client side, but I'm thinking about what's right for operations, what's right for the people in the field, what's right for our accounting counterparts, what's right for my digital product team. And so I like that. I like to be a true cross-functional team player.
I want to get into Home Depot as well. You said in the beginning of the interview, like you wanted to bring diversity into marketing, right? Home Depot is a brand that I don't really know too well, but it seems like I know it was founded by a bunch of white guys, right? Like, how did you go about like making sure that you could get your creative opinion like across, and what was that role like?
Yeah, so the good thing, like Home Depot definitely values multicultural. They have a long-standing partnership within the HBCU space called Retool Your School. It's an amazing program and a lot of other things that they do, even when it comes to the U.S. Hispanic audience. And so for me, it was just making sure that I showed value very early on so that I could have a seat at the table to continue to push those initiatives and make sure that there wasn't a point in time where the organization felt like maybe we should pull dollars from our multicultural efforts and put them into something else, whether that be marketing or, another initiative.
What are you most proud of within like the multicultural work that you did in Home Depot?
I probably would say just helping continue and constantly evolve the Retool Your School program. Also, really pushing us with rethinking about multicultural and taking like a multicultural first approach. I would say are some of the things like being able to partner with my agency and bring insights to the organization of like how if you take a multicultural first approach to creative, it really serves the whole general market.
So you ended up moving over to Walmart as well. What made Beth Ray do for you?
The opportunity. So went over to Sam's Club specifically and was told that like, hey, you're gonna be the first trained paid media person who has been hired at this organization. So you really are gonna have a lot of authority to come in and bring your knowledge and like optimize how we've been going to market. And it was one of those things like, yes, I had kind of some authority at Home Depot. I worked very closely with our agency and giving them guidance. But now we're talking about like a lot of, internal leadership, like a larger seat at the table to really help drive the Sam's Club paid media business. And so I just couldn't turn it down.
Yeah.
It was a little scary because like, we talked about, or you can see from my bio, the cities I've lived in. So I'm like originally from Dallas, moved to Chicago, then Atlanta, and now we're talking about going to Arkansas. So this big city girl was like,
I never even stepped in the state of Arkansas. What was that about to try? But
it was definitely a shock. It was very interesting. I remember flying in and just seeing like a fields of cows, and I'm like, where am I going? Like I had never even been to Arkansas, but no, Walmart Sam's Club, great, 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 great company culture. Like I loved my job there. I learned so much, had a lot of different roles my time at that organization, and really, really developed as the marketer I am today. Like it was something I had to do in my career.
if you learned one thing from that experience, what was that?
I think how to be a better leader, because I had some amazing leaders when I was at Sam's Club, and they taught me just like how to lead with empathy. They really instilled like a work life balance. Um, they, told me to step out of the box as a marketer. Up until uh, probably 2 years within Sam's Club, my whole career had pretty much been in on the media side, and they saw something in me, like the way I thought. Once again, just pulling from different cross-functional partners. They're like, you don't have to stay in media. They gave me the opportunity to expand into brand marketing, and so I mean,
Yeah, the rest is history.
yep.
You brought up a bunch of agencies that you've managed, right? How do you go about just getting new ideas straight through brand direct, right? Versus having your agency, everything go through your agency.
On the brand side, I think once again it's pulling from cross-functional partners. Like even today, me and my product team were very close, and like we may have an idea in marketing, and then when you bring it up to them, like they'll be like, "Oh, well, did you think about this? Did you think about X?" And so I think just like having that openness to know that a great idea comes from anywhere, and like just receive it, like it just builds together versus like being so siloed or feeling like you should own this. Like we all win when we work together.
Yeah, it definitely takes a village to
Exactly.
build something awesome. With Dave and Buster's, marketing should be about it, right? And I think Dave and Buster's, when I think Dave and Buster's, I think fun. I think most people do, right? I already know probably the answer to this question, but what was D&B like from the marketing side when you walked in those doors from the back summer?
Oh, I mean, from the moment that I talked to the recruiter the first time, you could just tell from his energy, it was all about fun. Like I remember one day he called me and we were going through some stuff, and he's like, "All right, I'm about to go eat some nachos with my daughter," and then he's like, "I'm gonna pile this, and this on there." And I was just like, "Wow, I've never kind of really had this like type of conversation with a recruiter." But like really, the whole environment is like we work really hard, we play hard. Like our office, some of the games that you see in the DMV are in our office, like Papa Shots in the back, different arcade games. And so it really is just like a lot of fun. We're a small but mighty marketing team. And like we like each other, like we have fun.
You
Like
guys do everything in house, or do you have the agency as well?
we have agencies for Dave and Buster's.
Gotcha. That's exciting though.
Yeah, our agency partners are fun. They're great to work with. Even in that relationship, I'm like, I have these ideas. Like, this is what I think. I'm not trying to be prescriptive because I want you to bring your thought leadership to the table. So we all collaborate very well.
What was Dave and Buster's looking for? Like, what pain point for you to solve?
It was so when was brought on, it was about standing up this digital marketing function. And so prior to me and my previous VP joining the organization, um, there was kind of like the brand marketing team, and they owned brands, they own creative, they own the media strategy. They worked very closely with our product team and was trying to tell them what they wanted for like web app and kiosk. So there wasn't like a digital centric team. And so for me, I came in to really think about that end to end customer strategy. So like I own our web app and kiosk strategy for both Dave and Buster's and Main Event, but I also own our paid and owned media strategy. So like when I'm getting the brand's objective, the brand brief from the brand team, it's my job to really think like end to end, how should the guests experience this brand? And so I think when you have one person trying to do all that creative media, um,
And
Like it,
how's been solving that big problem and just making it come to life?
it's been fun. I feel like I potentially may have more fun with like the digital platform stuff because I love looking at like our web and app platforms and thinking like, just putting myself in the mind of the consumer. Like we definitely have room for optimizations and we're still developing and changing things. But even like me and one of my direct reports, we're working on like revamping like how we come to life on our website with the watch. Like, Dave and Buster's has an amazing watch experience if you want to go on a game day, but it's not something that we built a lot of credibility in. So, like, how do you tell that story? How do you build that SEO relevancy? And so, like, for me, that's a lot of fun, just like really taking myself out of a marketer.
Y'all do have a really good.
We do, especially if you go to one of the locations with like the 40-foot TV.
Yeah, that's just one in Brooklyn. Yeah, it's funny. I had to go to the DMV. It's inside this mall, and you have to walk through a Dave and Buster's to get to the DMV. It was a little weird, but I remember walking through it at like 9 a.m. and I was like, it's a good game day. Like they had massive TV.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, people don't know. We pretty much a lot of times we'll always have like the UFC fights on. So like come to DMV for a fight night with your friends. I mean, it's really just a great vibe. And the one thing I will say this, like, first of all, I have some fun childhood memories with Dave and Buster's. So I remember going as a child, but now being an adult and like going there working for the brands, the food at Dave and Buster's is like underrated. Like people are missing out on an amazing meal. Like I love.
No, it is good. It is really good. I went to the openings for the Brooklyn one because one of my friends was doing PR for you guys. So
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Um,
people are missing out, man.
what's the most creative marketing campaign you've been a part of, either there or in your career, and what was the most unexpected result from it?
Oh, that's a good one. The most creative marketing campaign. I don't know if it was the most creative, but I'll talk about the one that like I've had the most heart for. When I was at Sam's Club, we knew that we needed to figure out how to humanize the brand a little bit. And so we started something called Merchant Heroes. And so I worked very closely with a lot of our like product merchants. So those are the buyers of the different products, different categories. And so work with them to uncover like these stories, unexpected stories about the products that they bought. So like whether it was, our roses are flown in and that they last, 7 to 14 days longer than your typical like rose. And then the bud is like 2 to 3 times larger than a typical rose. Like how our coffee is produced and just like some like very unique things that like a customer wouldn't know, and then like figure out how to produce those in like video content to tell that story. And we saw like a lot of people were like, oh, like you just got a lot of reactions like, I didn't know that, like that's awesome that this is how this is made. And so for us it was really just about, which I think the objective is something that still rings true today. I feel like for any brand, don't forget that like you're servicing human beings.
Yeah.
So how do you humanize your brand to like really pull that emotional connection with
I,
them?
I really like that you said humanize and not just consumers, because I feel like I've heard a lot of just like, oh, we need to get to our consumer.
No,
Like, no, they're people.
they're
But
people, they're humans. Like, and I think to me sometimes, and I'm pretty sure everyone has this, but I like to think sometimes I have my own superpower. And I feel like that for me is like being able to take that marketing hat off and just be like, I'm a human at the end of the day. Like, really, I'm talking to myself. So, like, what do I want?
sure, exactly. Uh, I'm curious if you were to. These are more like life lesson questions, out of the box, but based to wrap us up. But like, or if you could revisit one moment in your career and give yourself advice, which moment would it be, and what would you say?
Oh, that's a good one. Um, I would say that, and this is probably something that I have to remind myself of frequently, don't compare myself to my like friends or industry colleagues. I think often, especially earlier on in my career, I would like have a friend. I saw that they were quickly progressing through their career, and I would like say, oh my gosh, like, why am I not? Like, I'm older than them. Like, I should be further along. And even now, like I know some people who are like C-suite and they're the same age as me. And, I'm just a director. And so, like, I feel like I just have to remind myself, like, this is my journey. I have an amazing journey. I've worked with some amazing brands, some amazing people. And, like,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, comparison's the thief of joy.
it is. It is. So, like, I just really love what I do. I'm very passionate about marketing. And so, for me, I think that helps me find comfort.
What is the craziest or most out of the box idea that you pitched or an agency pitched to you, and how did it go over with the team?
The craziest thing, and not really too crazy, but definitely out of the box from how we traditionally would execute things, is recently Dave and Buster's did a partnership with Barstool to really surround March Madness. And so, we had some learnings. March Madness happens around the same time as spring break. And so last year, when the team kind of leaned in there, they were like, oh, maybe we should have really leaned into spring break, or like find like that optimal balance between the two. And so this year, like having our agency come in and pitch like this huge partnership with Barstool, and like just think the price tag that came with it. It was out of the box. We did it. We saw great success when it came to like earned media. Specifically, we saw that um, we were right up there with Association of March Madness as brands who actually paid for the licensing and to be a part, and we didn't. And so that was like,
That's huge.
it's huge. And it's one of the things like they were saying earlier on the main stage is like you got to be willing to take those risks.
Fairly.
And like also balancing, because that's something that's more of like a brand builder, is helping us drive relevancy at their brands versus down funnel and more of like a performance opportunity. So yeah.
No, that is super interesting because I actually thought you guys did sponsor the.
No. Oh my gosh. I love that you said that.
Yeah.
And we did not.
If you were to make a role at Dave and Buster's, what role would it be, and who would you hire?
Oh, good way. If I was to make a role, um, I'm gonna say the first thing that comes to mind, I want to have someone who's like a cultural maven. And to me, that would be about not only like driving internal culture for our company, and like how do we show up as for the company culture, but also would be someone who just like really has like they just know everything that's going on in culture, and they really understand our brand. They're like, y'all hop on this, like y'all hop on this. And really they have that authority to do that. They're like supposed to be driving the relevancy and the culture of our brand. And so it's almost like they had this huge bucket of funds, and their responsibility is just like just
Yeah.
yes, just get us out there.
And who would you want filling it?
Once again, I'm gonna go with the first person that comes to mind. And for some reason, I'm just like, I feel like a Kiki Palmer.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like she could easily do that. She's fun. I feel like she would drive like a lot of synergies between her brand and like our brand with the,
Yeah.
yeah,
That'd be awesome. I'm glad you like that one.
maybe a Drewski. Like,
Yeah, I mean, think out of the box. If listeners were to get one thing out of this episode, what would it be?
two things, yes. I like to break rules too. No, just playing. I would say one is like make sure you're pushing boundaries with your marketing, your leadership in general, to take those risks. I think right now I get that like macroeconomics have a lot of brands kind of hesitant to take those huge investments. But I think like even like you have to push those boundaries. I feel like when we really lean into culture and like understand, like truly understand consumers and like humans,
Yeah.
then I think it just there's a beautiful marriage there between the brand and human beings. We should really rephrase consumers to human beings. That'll be my second thing. That's it.
So before we get into the quick question round, I got to give a big shout out for OpenFortune. OpenFortune is transforming the humble fortune cookie into a powerful marketing platform. With access to 99% of U.S. zip codes and over 47,000 restaurants, OpenFortune delivers your brand message directly into the hands and hearts of millions of consumers. Trusted by leading companies like ZipRecruiter, Duolingo, and Chan, OpenFortune ensures your advertising reaches a wide, engaged audience in a memorable way. So, you want to discover the potential of fortune cookie marketing? Check out openfortune.com. Person you most want to sit down to dinner with?
Oprah.
Favorite city in the world?
Madrid.
Is it okay to sleep with socks on?
No.
Best spot to eat in Dallas?
Gloria's Latin cuisine.
Favorite rom-com.
Not sure.
In 40 years from now, what will people be nostalgic for?
Arcade play still.
Top 3 brands right now doing amazing work.
Chili's, Apple, and
Dave & Buster's.
Dave and Buster's.
One thing people don't understand about your job is
How much I do.
what's one thing people don't think that you do that you actually do?
They don't think that I help our international marketing team stand up digital landing pages for our franchisees, and I did.
What's the worst advice you've ever been given?
Don't speak.
In one sentence, how would you sum up the internet?
Best place to get knowledge.
In one sentence, how would you sum up Dave & Buster's?
Best place in the world.
Who's somebody you think should hop on this podcast?
First person comes to mind is Tony Rogers, CMO.
Of Dave & Buster's?
No, Dollar Tree.
Oh, okay. Last one, in 10 years, where can we catch you, Yvette?
In 10 years, hopefully, I'm a CMO somewhere.
There you go. I want to get you back on CMO Weekly.
Yep.
Thank you so much for taking time. Appreciate it.